All right. Failed attempt one. Volume's on this time, so hopefully everyone can hear what the heck I say. We got Mr. Cola here in the background. He wants to eat me, so he'll be there watching my back during this all. But yeah, we're going to do a quick video on each category that I like to cover. So I'm going to do a video on silver and silver mining stocks. Not too many, but just one that I'm in. Gold mining stocks. I got a lot more of those that I'm playing around with. And maybe we'll do one on the tech and the 5G kind of companies. And maybe I'll even do a quick one on the biotech ones, because some of those ones I briefly went over a couple months ago did astoundingly well. And yeah, why not cover it? It's interesting. It's well done for those that got those profits. So let's just start with silver right now, and I'm just going to blow this up so that we can focus on what we're looking at. And let's just look at it on a monthly time frame like always and get a gist of where we're going. I know we don't want too many lines, so we just have a long-term downward line, a long-term bottom one, and a short-term one here. And typically you would expect action between these, but we had a nice break out of the long-term trend line right there. And we're not completely in bull territory yet, but we're starting to approximate some of these numbers that are very, very bullish. And especially when you couple that silver and gold are very bullish, comparatively speaking, to other currencies across the world. And that's what typically that a lot of financial advisors and people that invest for themselves acquire gold and silver. Any good investor should have 15% of their wealth in gold and silver. Not because they're looking for astronomical gains like I might be, but they're looking for a hedge to protect their wealth in terms of their currencies devaluating. And a lot of times you can just make all that back just with the value of gold and silver. So when you look at countries like Venezuela or some of these countries where their currencies have just inflated to levels that are obscene, like gold and silver were, they've 10x. They've done a lot more. They've done way better than you would think in comparison to like your US dollar, or let's say in your Canadian dollars, since I'm in Canada. So most countries' gold is at all-time highs. So knowing that, it's a little bit of a green light to say that gold is going to be going up. But also it's going to be hidden by the fact that the US dollar is surging against the world currencies as a whole in general. So hopefully that made sense. Silver is at a pivotal point here. I mean, we broke through here. If we can close on the monthly up here, like, it's going to be quite bullish in my estimations. So 19.5 is the next kind of level we want to break through. We're getting close, 18.75, and then 21 here. I think most people, when you see it go past 21, you're going to see a big surge of people starting to talk about silver, and there's still a double up there, I'm pretty happy with what I've seen here lately with silver. So some other reasons that silver is going to be worth your while, more or less. I mean, sometimes people say that, precious metals are manipulated and whatever. Most things are, man. Welcome to 2020. But here's some things. I mean, time. It's time, man. It's time for silver. It's went through its contraction. And the reality of it is that it did make a lower low right there. So theoretically, you could say that that's still in a bear market. So I wouldn't put all of the chips in one basket quite yet. Just to be super cautious with your risk management, which is always the most important thing anyway. But it's almost a perfect storm for precious metals. I mean, with so much global uncertainty, there's never been a bigger push to put it into something real that you can have in your hand. And besides that, I'm going to say time is one thing. There's a lot of utility to silver more. I always used to hear lithium batteries are the prime battery, but now it's silver batteries. Silver batteries are better. Solar panels are all made out of silver. A lot of military equipment's made from silver, and most medicine. Silver is super good for so many different things, like so many electrical properties, so many antimicrobial properties. Apparently it's great for the battery energy storage. So there's a lot of utility with silver. Plus, it's actually jewelry too. I mean, people do value it, and it is a store of value. I mean, historically, throughout the thousands of years of mankind, silver is the common person's medium of exchange. And any country, all the people, like, they all store their silver in one form or another. Times have just been so good around here that we haven't had to melt down the sterling silver and cash it in. But times like that in other countries happen every couple of years, it seems like. So silver is going to have probably an increase in demand. The thing is, you don't really know what the global supply of silver is, because a lot of like people like me and you might be holding our little bags that aren't really calculated in the global supply. Regardless, there's going to be a big demand shift in silver, and commodities are usually viewed, in my estimation and from most of the people I've looked at, as having a pretty good rationale to gain in the near immediate future. So besides that, this gold to silver ratio, with a lot of people like to bring up, back down here it was like 125 to 1. Never seen levels like that. So that means that you could, 1 ounce of gold would buy 125 ounces of silver, and that's been as high as 14 to 1. So if that was the case, you'd be seeing $110 silver roughly, if silver to gold ratio was 15 to 1. So just to say, that's a ratio that kind of hovers back and forth back to that medium, and it's severely undervalued silver in comparison to gold, more or less. That's the point I was trying to make. So silver is not overvalued, it's very undervalued. There's a lot of utility, from batteries to solar panels to military to medical equipment. It's a store of value historically. It's good for jewelry, and there's just like every reason for precious metals to gain value right now, because there's so much global uncertainty. So for all those reasons, and it is knocking on the door, it's very exciting, I guess, for me to see silver break out of this little resistance. It's because it's always getting stomped down, but it's not quite in the clear yet. I'd like to see it pass that 19.5 and this 21, and if it can close on a monthly bar above 21, like, you're going to start seeing institutional money start coming into things like silver and silver mining, and we're going to start seeing, like, a good little stretch of future for silver. I mean, the thing is, like, if it gets rejected and the whole market crashes and second wave comes and everyone sells all their silver supplies to cover their losses in other places, believe me, we could come back down here. So that's the worst case scenario. We come back down here and touch here, or we even make a lower low, which would be crazy in my minds, but welcome to 2020, my friends. But for me, I'm pretty damn bullish on silver, especially seeing it bust through here. That's a very uplifting thing for me. And it's been a pretty good gain since I've been talking about it. Just seeing all these different macro factors couple in with the technical analysis, and when you have too many things saying yes, you got to take the risk. That's just trading. So that's a quick little overview of silver. And the one mining stock that I am in is IPT. And for me, this was from a recommendation of a friend. So that's why it's nice having a couple friends in the business here too that are. He does a lot more with the actual financial aspect of it. For me, I'm just jumping in and doing the technicals, and I do know a lot about silver, and I listen as much as I can with silver mining. I know that most silver is mined indirectly from other mines. So people are mining for gold, and then they find silver, and then they just take it out. Or they're mining for copper, and then they get some silver. So it's usually not dedicated exclusively towards that, but we could be seeing you could see a lot of demand come for silver. Why? For all those reasons. And there's even some people that say that, well, maybe governments might have to actually buy silver reserves. I mean, they used to have to buy gold reserves because no one would trust your currency, especially when it's inflating. And silver could be that little one, once you get exposed in the gold, which they will do first and foremost. But if you start seeing countries start investing in gold, like, why not have a little bit of silver too? So if you see actually nations buying silver supplies, you're only going to see more demand flood in. And that's only going to mean silver miners too could have a nice little volatile stretch here. So seeing that, I mean, you could see something like Impact. I mean, sometimes it's just dumbfounding to me to see such gains. Like, I just don't know, when you see stocks hit 1 cent, if this is just the buy signal. 1 cent, what do you got to lose? I mean, it's just unbelievable to see something go from 1 cent to, 2.50 or something. There's bigger examples of this, but you can see it's kind of runs in waves. And for me, I can see it just clearly starting this a little bit of an upward trend. So seeing that it's broken this downward trend line in the short term, I could see it's going to have a little bit of a good move up. I don't see any resistance to the 125 region right here, and then I see that's going to be the first challenge right there. So it's nice that it had that bar up. It cleared that previous high. I think that was about, well, it's at 68 cents here on the monthly, but you can get a little bit better data here on the weekly. And I was more playing this breakout once it played above 73, 74 here. And I just nabbed in here and it shot off. So that's awesome when you see a nice progressive stare up. We see it up here. The thing is, we want to see silver keep pumping up. So that's the way that you can use the main core asset and then make investments into the more risky subsidiaries of silver, right? The silver mining, the futures, the exploratory companies. And for me, I think that that's just like a good market that's going to be hitting a bull market soon. And it is in a bull market for a lot of countries. It's just here in North America, we're kind of the last country to realize it. So it's nice to get in before the herd. And so that's my two little silver holdings. I do have PSLV as well. And this is just a silver ETF. It more or less mimics silver. And you can see here, we're having a nice large ascending triangle. So we're seeing it. We're going to have a little bit of a challenge right here at about 950. And if we can break through here, there's not a whole bunch of resistance until we hit, 11 and 14. So it's pretty good. But we have to be aware that we could easily, I don't know why this red line's here. We could easily come back down if we have a whole market failure again. So be very wary about that. So with me showing all these new positions, believe me, I'm very aware and hesitant about the potentiality for more lockdowns and people having to sell some of their positions to cover their asses. So that's this video on silver. I'm going to keep it short, and the next one's going to be about gold. All right. Alrighty. We'll see you soon. We'll see you in the next video. How about, eh? See ya.